Welcome, listeners, to the Adepticon recap. I don't even know what that is. The Adepticon recap episode for Shiny Object Syndrome. I'm Jackson Warfield, and I'm joined by the purveyor of the paints.
There we go. Now I'm getting better at this.
Yes, now we're back in our rhythm for the year. Second podcast of season 2. That's 2026 here. We're going to recap Adepticon, which wrapped up within, as we're recording this, within the last 24-ish hours or so. I'm going to go through all the cool stuff that gets revealed there and gets talked about there. Neither of us were at Adepticon, at least not this year. You weren't there, right?
No, unfortunately not. I'm gonna say it again, but I'm shooting for next year.
Perpetually next year.
Yeah, one of these next years.
One of them. All right. So what do we got for? Let's kick off the reveals a bit.
Well, the big one, and I guess it's really the biggest one. I don't know, but the next edition for Warhammer 40K is announced. The launch box set is going to be Armageddon. It features Blood Angels versus Orcs. They were pretty prominent in the trailer that they had out, but they also had some. I think there was Ultramarines. I think a Black Templar, and I couldn't quite tell who else was there. But Space Marines against Orcs.
I guessed that one. I think I had that one right. I remember we were talking about that before. I thought it was obviously going to be Orcs just by process of elimination. I don't think they were going to go Drukhari for the launch box.
I don't think they probably forgot Drukhari existed, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. That would be funny if they got Orcs, but then they also put them like against Drukhari or something.
It's like who?
It looks cool. I mean, I think what's the main model here? I'm trying to sort this out. Was it Gutsmech is the main Orc model we're looking at?
Wazdaka something. Maybe that's the other half of his name.
Wazdaka Gutsmech, or
yeah. Well, he's not in the box. He's leading the attack, or he's one of the ones leading the attack. But they didn't show too much of the box during Adepticon. They showed an intercessor with some Firstborn tactical gear. That's like the helmet with the rebreather and some shoulder pads, I think, that are Firstborn. And they showed one of the models from the Orc Boys, like their common infantry. So they're going to drip feed this over the next couple of weeks and months, I guess. But I'm excited. I'm excited nonetheless. They showed some, and they also mentioned, I think, Adam, the guy with the beard. Oh no, they both have beards. The bald guy. He mentioned that there was Vanguard veterans, which I've been looking forward to since probably a couple years now. I got my first set of Vanguard veterans when we first started this, and I've been wanting some upscaled ones for a while. There's probably some sort of Blade Guard captain or lieutenant or something. I don't know. What do you think?
I wish they went with a different name. I don't love Armageddon because I think it wasn't that already used as one of the epic scale versions of 40K in the past.
Wasn't that Apocalypse?
Was it Apocalypse? Maybe. I don't know. Armageddon just seems like an overly common name. I mean, I liked Leviathan as a name. Maybe they had a problem with what was the 9th edition launch box? It wasn't
Indomitus.
Indomitus. I liked Indomitus more. I thought, like Kill Team had Octarius and stuff. Maybe you don't want to be that obscure, but
I think you've just offended if we have any veteran Warhammer people listening, I think Armageddon, we haven't been, just for anyone listening, we haven't been in this hobby for too long, relatively. We started, 9th edition, was it?
Yeah.
Like middle of 9th edition. But Armageddon's supposed to have like some big significance to the Warhammer lore. So that could be why they picked it.
Well, yeah, I guess if you look at the actual timeline, we're getting to the end of the 41st millennium. Like, we're approaching year 41,000.
No, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, right. Warhammer 41,000 coming June 2026. That would be pretty funny. Starring Drukhari. Yeah, but I also like the fact that it's not Ultramarines. Sorry, but I like that.
They featured in the trailer. There's some Ultramarines in there. I mean, they didn't feature, but they had Ultramarines.
Yeah, it's true. They did throw some in there, but I like the fact that it's a different faction this time, at least on the box.
What do you think about the orcs?
I think the orcs are cool. I mean, I've grown to appreciate orcs more over time in Warhammer because I think it's a kind of funny, like intentionally not taking everything seriously. So I like the orc vibe. As far as some of the orc models, I mean, they're pretty cool. I mean, they, I guess, that it's a good contrast to Space Marines too. But I mean, it kind of like I was probably indicated that I guess, yeah, it's not going to be part of the core box, but I still like the Wazdaka Gutsmech model the most of the ones here. I like it's a good example of why Warhammer models are generally better than other games in terms of model creation, because no one tries to do something like that.
Are we looking at a new Jackson Warfield army for 2026?
No. Although I do have some of them for that Blitz Bowl box, the mini version of Blood Bowl that I have. But
yeah, don't you have the Age of Sigmar ones too? The orcs?
No, I sold those, but that was in those guys. It wasn't the big orcs. It was the ones that came in this 3rd edition Sigmar launch box.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, since you sold them, then, this is perfect. Yeah, you pick them up as part of the Armageddon box, and there's a new army.
Yeah. Well, it was the Cruel Boys. I did kind of like painting the Blitzbowl guys, but I'm at that point where I can't be plussing up an army. I got to be subtracting somewhere. It's already been tough enough to get everything flowing through the Jackson's War Shop for producing stuff.
That's not in the spirit of the hobby. You just got to keep buying stuff until you run out of room, and then I guess buy a new house. I'm not sure.
Yeah, one or the other.
But besides the Armageddon box, which I'm very excited for, they did announce a couple other things. I think one big thing they announced or showed off that you'd be interested in were a couple of new Middle-earth strategy battle game models. I'll never get used to saying that whole thing. I mean, did you take a look at those?
Yeah, I saw some of them. So I agree, not an amazing title. Middle-earth strategy battle game is good for not being just Lord of the Rings, at least. So what we have here is we got more riders of Rohan. So we got Rohan on horseback, which, Rohan's been the main forces of good army ever since they relaunched it with the War in the Rohirrim.
They're the Ultramarines of... So I saw on Reddit, they're the Ultramarines of the Middle-earth strategy battle game.
I guess they are. It's not a bad choice. I always liked Rohan because it's within Middle-earth. It's more like just normal dudes that are good on horses, as opposed to anyone that has this, ancient bloodlines where they're like kind of superhumans. And then the hill tribes are more of, like the rednecks of Middle-earth in a way. They're kind of not. Some of their armor is kind of like orcish, but not really. So it's different enough there.
I don't know how I feel about those models. I'm painting up the hill tribesmen from the Rohirrim box right now, and these guys look very... I mean, they're not much different. And they blend in, and one of them has like a banner, and that's it, really.
Yeah, they're human. And I guess if you want to draw a contrast, you really have to lean into a different color scheme thing. So like where Rohan is really green.
Well, I mean, compared to the other hill tribesmen.
Oh, yeah.
What is this? Like the command squad, the chieftain and guy with banner, guy with warhorn. But there's nothing that really, besides the banner and the warhorn, that really sets them apart from the normal hill tribesmen. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's been the case with a lot of Middle-earth too. There isn't that much unit variety because they're all trying to draw from something that's kind of in the Lord of the Rings. And that's kind of true where you have like Moradon orcs for Mordor as opposed to like, I don't know, they have different orcs and stuff. Like there's not that different. There's the Uruk-hai and anyone else like that. But if you like painting horses, I think this is a good reveal for you. If you wanted more horses, that's why they're leaning into Rohan as more of the Space Marines here, is because there aren't as many horses throughout Games Workshop product lines that I'm aware of.
I'm thinking. I know we have the Rough Riders for the Astra Militarum, and
Right, but they're unique
that's it.
because of that, right?
I guess they're like mutant horses. Age of Sigmar has a lot of horses. Well, maybe not a lot. Yeah, speaking of, Age of Sigmar got quite an announcement. Well, my favorite one was the Cog Forts. They kind of stole the show for me for Age of Sigmar after everything else they announced, and I don't know. I really want one. It's kind of a funny concept. It's a walking tower, I guess, with guns and stuff on it, but it's just something so wild that I have to get one eventually.
I honestly, I kind of agree. I love that. It's such a cool idea. I wish if they had that when I was initially dipping my toe into Sigmar stuff, that could have been something to sway me towards Cities of Sigmar. It's cool.
Yeah, and speaking of Cities of Sigmar, they're getting their, I guess it's a refresh or their new units for the edition or whatever, and probably a battle tome. I don't know. Besides the Cog Forts, I don't know if there's anything else that's really drawing me towards them this time. I still have quite a bit of them to paint up, but they're also getting some kind of versus box, I guess. I don't know if Age of Sigmar's done this, but I know when we first started, 40K was doing it a lot, where you get the two factions in a box, and they're going up against which clan was this? Eshin, maybe? I think it's Clan Eshin for the Skaven.
Okay. Oh, some more Skaven. Yeah.
Yeah, which I also collect since Skaventide. So I'm in trouble for this box, maybe.
Yeah. Although I have to say, for me, my favorites for the Sigmar reveals, it was between the Cog Forts and the Gate Gargants, because that's another similar kind of cool thing. So the Gate Gargants being, the Gargants basically carrying a door as a shield. That's part of a gate. And then you got the dude on top. That's another cool thing. I don't know why it seems so special that they're doing this, because you would think this is something they've been doing for a long time with a lot of the Sigmar stuff, is things like that. But I don't know, it's cool. That's one way to really separate yourself too from being just like a slightly more morbid version of Middle Earth when you're doing all these battles, at least with the humans.
Yeah, no, those are definitely cool models. The only thing I'm really kind of miffed about for Age of Sigmar is they did the Cities of Sigmar reveal during Adepticon. They've done the Chaos Dwarves during whatever that last stream was that we saw, maybe during the LVO, and for other factions, it kind of just, hey, by the way, they're coming out next week. Don't forget. Yeah, they're all over the place with this.
Yeah, well, at least it's something. I mean, overall, I feel like this is really good in terms of reveals compared to other years.
Yeah, I mean, well, ignoring all the audio issues and the technical issues, and I think they might have hired some people from Renegade to help with their stream this year.
Yeah, well, you're right. They're hiring the same gremlins. At least they seem mildly capable at trying to recover stuff.
Yeah, but did you see the kill team reveals for the Astra Militarum and the Red Terror?
The Red Terror guy is cool. I hope this becomes a 40K beast, but I don't know why I wouldn't just buy it anyway. Yeah, it's something. I can't explain why it's such a good miniature, but I think it's really good. It's like the extra long kind of tail, like the snake-like tail that it's got going on. It's pretty sweet. Yeah,
I like the mode that it's going to come in with the what was it, the NPO or whatever it was called mode,
like boss battles.
Yeah, the boss battle, whatever it was called. It just, this one kind of makes more sense. The last one when they were going up against the Nightbringer, I don't know, just something about that. It's like, I feel like you're not supposed to win against the Nightbringer, but at least the Red Terror, you can scare it away or do enough damage that it goes away to recover or something.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I guess there are levels to this. Especially if you're going with like a guard kill team. You're not supposed to win against that guy, or at least if you had some version where the game was smooth enough, which Kill Team is not, but if the game were smooth enough where you could do like a 6v1 or something like that, that I could see becoming a thing where you battle against the Nightbringer.
Yeah, although that guard team, I do. Yeah, I know it's like I have plenty of guard to paint, but those guys do look pretty cool. The Spectre squad.
Yeah, no, they're cool. They're not strong enough to. They don't look like they're super powerful necessarily, but that's a cool. Yeah, I like their sculpts.
Yeah, they can ambush. They can put mines or something, and they can do something.
Yeah, it's probably like, probably like 50 points worth if they are in 40K.
Yeah. Oh man, so I think those were the big highlights from Adepticon. I know Horus Heresy had a couple of models that I think you liked.
Which ones
are you eyeing?
I like the Ogrins. I just think they look. I like how creepy they are. Something about them is just. It's a good fit. They remind me of one of the bosses from Ninja Gaiden Black from like 2005. The third boss that you fight, this big like fat guy is like squeezing out his suit. They're like no backstory to any of those bosses either, which kind of made Ninja Gaiden Black even cooler. Kind of like an homage to what video games used to be, like the 80s and 90s, where it's just like, yeah, you just got to go beat a bunch of guys. Like, we don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. But I like the Ogrins. I like the, I don't know what the weapon is, but like the quadruple chainsaw fist. I like the fact that they look like they're not quite trying too hard to be creep, but just are. I like them better with the mask down. The mask up, they look a little bit like a mechanic that they're not trying to kill you, but you've now distracted them while they're working on like fixing a tank or something, and now they're just like pointing their weapon at you, saying like, "Hey, get out of here!" But I like them with the mask down.
All right, I guess we'll put it on your Christmas wish list then. But yeah, and then Warhammer Underworld's got, I guess you can consider it an announcement. I do love right in the beginning. They're when they had the audio issues, they were like, "Hey, who's here for 40K? You know, a lot of cheers. Who's here for Age of Sigmar? A lot of cheers. Who's here for Warhammer Underworlds?" And I think one guy said something. It was yeah. At least I didn't forget about it. So for any Underworlds fans, that's good.
Yeah, Underworld still is probably the game that I should have gotten into from the beginning. Try to get you into it, but the last is now the backlog's too long. But
yeah, you know, plus I got my Ultramarines.
True. Yeah.
Although speaking of, I kind of glossed over the other 40K reveals when they revealed the new Astra Militarum vehicles, which are kind of cool, although probably going to be pricey. Did you see the Sisters model on top of that throne?
Yeah, I like that one. I heard the comparison to like the Inquisitor. I like the comparison over to Sigmar. With the Seraphon, like the Lord Kroken, like those kind of guys with like the floating throne watching.
Oh, that's right. Those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was an apt. I like that direction also for Sisters. I like it when they have things that are unique to them too. And they don't just feel like they're just female space Marines. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm not allowed to say those words. I like them to have some variety.
Yeah. Now the whole podcast is canceled. Good job.
Yeah. Nice. Whoops. And so episode 2 became the last episode.
Yeah. Although, yeah, on that same vein, I do like it when they get their own unique models, but I wish they got more models. They announced the battalion box for them, right? And it was just more of the same, more Repentia, more, what was it? I can't even remember what they were, but it's basically the same models that I got from the Combat Patrol way back years ago now. And we're just looking at the exact same ones all over again. The war sets, that's what I'm thinking of.
They just don't get a lot of models. Well, I don't think they get a lot of sales either. I might be wrong. I don't think they get a ton.
Still more than Drukhari.
True.
I mean, we're really digging at Drukhari today. Or at least I have to get our Mr. Drukhari, our fellow Drukhari person, onto here to defend himself.
Yeah, one of these days.
But outside of Games Workshop, I don't know if there were any other. Were there any other major announcements? Atomic Mass Games did their roadmap reveal for all their games, like Legion, Shatterpoint, and Marvel Crisis Protocol. But I don't know. I didn't catch the video. I kind of caught the highlight summary on their website, and it looks like a lot of stuff that they've already revealed, like during the mini extravaganza. So I don't know if there's anything new that they actually revealed besides launch dates.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of miniatures producers try to do reveals in a way that looks like they're taking thunder away from Games Workshop here, because I think they also want to make sure they're getting invited to Adepticon to have booths. I know I've heard, so it looks like we have War Machine has, I don't know what the Steamroller tournament is, but it seems like War Machine is still like trying to bring the game back fully. I don't think that reveals. It was more so like they were there at Adepticon. You could kind of play the game. There are a lot of I think smaller miniature publishers where you could like show up to their booth and get some minis and try out the game, and that's really what Adepticon is for non-Games Workshop stuff. Is that the feel you got?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Although, speaking of small publishers, Archon Studio had their first, I guess, public sale for the StarCraft line, and initial impressions have been sounding pretty good. Zergs, I guess, have a little bit of a mold line issue, but nothing too drastic. And for the Terrans and Protoss, they're almost non-existent, they were saying.
Yeah, and I watched the YouTube channel Play on Tabletop, the 40K in 40 Minutes channel. They played the StarCraft miniatures game, and I like the system and how that works, where you have your supply number is gradually increasing throughout the match. So you start off with like 3 supplies, so then you got a few units on the board, and you keep adding to it. I like that as a way to tie into StarCraft with the idea of build times and things like that. I still wish there were a video game where they combined a first-person shooter with the real-time strategy elements of StarCraft, where when you died, you had to basically get back. Maybe it wouldn't be fun to wait in line, but you have to get rebuilt as another unit, and maybe you could pop up as a Goliath this time, and like someone else is controlling, what builds get queued up and everything like that. But I always thought that could be a really cool game. Absent that, the tabletop game is still pretty good.
So if there's any angel investors listening, Jackson Warfield is ready for investment.
I mean, I had that idea like 5 years ago, to be honest. I think it's probably just unrealistic to get that made because of how not fun waiting is. But it could also be that you could, while you're waiting for your Goliath to get built, you're just cycling through like some of the Marines in there. Maybe someone on your team wants to be an SCV or a drone, or just any of the probe or any of those guys. So
imagine being a drone though. It's like, oh look, you're a building now. Good job.
I think there are people who would like that. I have an uncle who does content stuff, and he does video games where he will do truck driver simulations for 3 hours. I think people would like to be drones.
So it sounds like we're gonna have to get a game played on one of your channels then.
Yeah, possibly. Well, I don't know if it'll be one of these though. Maybe. I mean, so just run through some of the other games that had demos, I guess, out there. I'll mention it because out there was a shelf of Heroescape stuff. Like I said, I'm probably not investing in Heroescape anymore, but they have looks like ninjas on motorcycles. So there's that. I don't know. I think I'm going to be moving more into StarCraft and Halo Flashpoint as my alternatives to Warhammer, though. Heroescape, like I said on the last podcast, I'm kind of full there.
Did you get any of the G.I. Joe stuff?
I'm trying to remember if I got the battle box. There's, having 2 sons that are approaching the age where they might like G.I. Joes. I thought that could be a good thing to order, but I don't remember if I did. I'm waiting now like a couple months since I placed that order. I think I got the April order too, so we'll have to see. I don't know. I might end up with it. Since all these other games are getting canceled, maybe I'd want to end up with more of those than normally. We have some other notable games that got some demos. You had Democracy Drop Troopers, which is based on a video game. I have not played that video game. It's a bit of a sci-fi vibe. It actually looks like Star Trek Troopers, and maybe that is where it comes from. It looks very much like it's from Starship Troopers. Do you have any idea what Democracy Drop Troopers is?
Yeah, that was the like you mentioned the name, and I'm like, what is that? And then now it's ringing a bell. It's the I don't know if bootleg's the right word. It's kind of like the knockoff Helldivers
Yes.
models. I don't remember why they made a knockoff. Maybe they couldn't get approval from Sony or Arrowhead or whoever. But yeah, they're very almost 1-to-1 to Helldiver models. So I don't know. Besides the name, I don't know how. I guess they're getting away with this. I don't know how any of that works.
Well, there is I think there's a Helldivers board game being made, and this is an unofficial alternative to that for those that think that the Helldivers board game is not really what a Helldivers game should be.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. With a company like Sony, I don't. I'm always afraid of or I assume people would be afraid of just kind of tiptoeing on their IP.
Yeah, like I said, they don't. They're making it clear. It's like, this is not Helldivers. Just put that on their page, not Helldivers, so that they get all the search traffic.
But from the models that I did see, they do look pretty good. Like if you didn't know that it was unofficial, probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It took me actually quite a bit of research to figure out whether they were official or not. So they're definitely good quality models.
Yeah. And I guess you got 4 factions in there to eventually drop into. You got drop troopers, the bugs, the bots, and the squids. So it's a good start. We also had, I think this game has been around for a while though, that is Blood and Plunder, and then the associated game Oak and Iron. So Blood and Plunder is a tabletop game where it's simulating pirate raids, and Oak and Iron I think is the ship battles. It's almost like, maybe think of it as like a Star Wars miniatures, Star Wars Legion, but at the same time you also have like maybe play an X-Wing game, which is also, if those not aware, I've heard of people playing a game within a game within a game where they do Star Wars Armada, and then they simulate the small ship battles with Star Wars X-Wing, but then they also work in Star Wars, not so much Legion, because this is before Legion, but Imperial Assault, which is like RPG style board games into the play. So I forgot what it's called. I just thought of that now. If I were playing in advance of what to say for the podcast, I probably would have brought that up, but that has nothing to do with Blood and Plunder, though. But Blood and Plunder, yeah, if you wanted to play Blood and Plunder, you could do that. If you want to build terrain that has a lot of epoxy water, Blood and Plunder is the way to go.
Oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to try that again.
Yeah, I might. I built my terrain boards. That might be it for now. We had a couple of games that I think you could play that were based on anime series. You had Magical Girl Assault, where you have like a magical girl, and then your magical girl gets this like contract creature that comes with her, and they battle. It looks. I don't know anything again about like Magical Girl, but that is.
I sincerely hope that's like the name of a show or something. That's kind of that's an interesting sequence of words.
I believe it is. I'm not a big anime guy either, but I think that's another one at least worth mentioning. So if you want to play very low model count skirmish games, maybe take a look at Magical Girl. Also, if you like anime, and then also, I guess I don't know if there's anything that came up for Relic Knights, because that's another anime-based miniatures game, if I'm understanding correctly. But I think there was some. I met Relic Knights was featured a little bit at Adepticon.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just throwing these at you. I didn't give final a list of all these random games that I'm pulling out here. We had BattleTech did get some rules updates recently. I don't know. Have you? I'm still not tempted to try BattleTech, even though I loved specifically the Mech Assault video games on the Xbox more. I never really played Mech Warrior. I played Mech Assault, which didn't have a lot of like loadout customization, but it was good mech battles. Just because the miniatures in Mech Assault aren't super, or in BattleTech aren't amazing. But yeah, that's still ongoing, and they timed up, I think, our core rules changes to be around Adepticon at least.
Yeah, I remember I was thinking about attending Adepticon last year, and besides the Warhammer stuff, BattleTech they had quite a few events. They had a bunch of like learn to plays. They had a bunch of painting events. So I don't know about this year, but last year they had a pretty big presence at Adepticon. I don't know if I was tempted just because I have so many things to play and paint. But I did really like the show from back in the day. I think it's the same IP.
Yeah, I think
maybe someday.
Yeah, I do like the idea of. I like the idea of a mech warrior style game too, but I always imagined it would be more about mech customization as opposed to just the way BattleTech is, where you just have the mechs and you buy the mechs and they're just like, a chunk of plastic mech. Even tiny epic mechs involves you putting the board game mix. You have little meeples they put in plastic mechs. At least things like making them, maybe a Lego game would be great for the mech warrior universe.
So, but you can't customize them at all?
I'm not aware of, obviously I think there are loadout changes and things like that, but it's not like the mechs are designed to be like the build your customizations the way you would even in Warhammer. But I would think that you would want to double down into that even more with BattleTech, but it seems like they lean more towards the simpler minis.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can't just like make on-the-fly adjustments to your Mad Cat or whatever it is you're running with. And the last game I wanted to mention was not technically Reveals, but Trench Crusade, which is one of the newer, the hotter miniature games of the last 2 years or so. Trench Crusade, which is it's another super dark fantasy type of environment, like church versus hell, and the church isn't obviously the good guys type of a setting. You have they have field reports for these different miniatures and like photos at their booth, which kind of count as reveals, I guess you could say. But it was more so like you had to, if you were there, you got to see it. And that's kind of what like Heroescape is like you see, here are the new models they're working on. They're not doing a big reveal stream on them right now, but it's a reveal. Let's be real.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Trench Crusade in a long time. When they first came out last year, maybe the year before, one of these years, it was touted all over the internet as like the big Warhammer killer, and everyone was painting them and getting into the models and all that stuff. And then I think they had an issue getting models out to people. I'm pretty sure that's the one that lets you print your own models. Like they'll sell you the STLs and stuff.
Yeah.
But they had some issue with the distributor and it caused some drama. And then I honestly haven't heard anything about them probably for 6 to 9 months until Adepticon. So that's good that they're still going strong and revealing new stuff.
Well, at least it seems like they're going strong.
So fingers crossed. It's always too bad when a game ends. It's nice to have options.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there's options here. It just seems like a lot of times there's a lot of options that don't last very long. And like the games start up, pop up, and then they kind of go away. But speaking of taking advantage of options, so if that maybe wraps up our Adepticon recap, did you play anything in honor of Adepticon?
No, I haven't played a game in a while. I've just been painting. Just painting, trying to get through March from a Crag. What about you? I know you have a lot of you're playing backlog, so hopefully you can playing it down.
Pretty significant playing backlog. I'm actually, the last game I played was just after we recorded. I'm on a playing board game drought for about a week now, which is a very long time for me. Now, I'm starting to feel withdrawal symptoms. I'm like getting the itch, or I'm feeling itchy. And now everyone's imagining a tweaker. Let me explain that the last game I played was Star Realms. I played Star Realms Frontiers, which was the third core set for Star Realms. I still love Star Realms. It's one of my top 5 games of all time on my top games list. Star Realms is a deck builder. It's a pretty straightforward deck builder, as in like the game is deck building, kind of like Dominion, if you play Dominion, but it is a little bit more thematic, but not so thematic that you forget your deck building. So if you like it, it's my favorite way to play that. It's easy to bust out. There's a lot of variety. in the game without making it overly complex. It hits a sweet spot for me. And a lot of people say that it's like this weird in between between what their sweet spot games would be. For me, it nails it pretty well. Mrs. Warfield and I played one of the rare times where we've had a babysitter set up who can handle all 3 kids. So we had the babysitters. Well, it wasn't one. It was a couple of friends we know watching the kids, and we got to play this. And it was a repeat of a date we went on when we only had 1 kid back in like 2018. So that was cool. But we'll be repeating this podcast, maybe not exactly repeating it, but we got another episode of this podcast coming out within the next few weeks. We're going to be talking again about Kickstarters and board games and the hotness going on over there. So if you want to see that when it comes up, remember to subscribe to the podcast. Now, if you're watching this on the Primer YouTube channel for Jackson Warfield, I'm going to be doing those episodes on board games on my main channel, Jackson's Warfield. This channel is going to get the miniatures focused ones like today's episodes. If you're on Spotify or any other podcast platform, it's all the same. It's just going to come together. But that's it for episode 2 of 2026. Thanks all for listening. And until the next time, keep playing.
And then outro music.
Yes, this is where we come in. Yeah. All right.